my name's Seth Ebert, and I'll be talking about will Colorado's decision to tax marijuana at a 25% rate drive marijuana traffic underground. Okay. So I think the big question here is, was it smart to tax it at a 25% tax that Colorado did? I think in the grand scheme of things, I do personally think it was a wise idea to try to tax marijuana sales. If you're going to legalize it, you might as well get some use out of it. And I think it's actually brought a lot of revenue into the state of Colorado. Now, I don't think it was right to legalize marijuana. I come from a state that it's still illegal, and I guess I'm just not an awfully big fan of it. But in terms of the 25% tax on it, I personally do think it will push it underground. I think when the whole thing first started, it was cheap enough and convenient enough, and it was something new and something cool where these addicts could go get their marijuana, medical marijuana, as well as for some people to try it because it was legal. And I think as the tax got implemented and it actually started becoming more expensive than the people buying it or using it actually thought it would, I think that it's personally irritated some of those people in terms of thinking that the state of Colorado is taking advantage of them in that way. And I think in reality that was the whole point. From what I understand, I think it was the whole point of legalizing marijuana was to try to take advantage of users. And instead of fighting them all the time, you might as well make it legal and get some money out of them because they're just going to do it anyway. So I do think as this tax steadily increases or stays at 25%, I do personally think that it will drive it underground because they were getting away with it before. It's technically legal now, so even if you're doing it illegal, I mean, I'm sure somebody will find a flaw in the system where they can say, yeah, this is legal marijuana. I don't know what you're talking about. There's ways to jump around all sorts of things in the legal world, and I think this is one of those sticky situations that Colorado kind of set themselves up for when they legalized it, was whether it was going to stay legal or it was going to go underground. And I do believe that there's some markets that still are underground today. I think in terms of Mexican marijuana that gets transported across the border and black marketed into states, I think that still goes on. There's cases all the time that show and prove that Mexican weed is still getting across the border, even though it's legalized in the state of Colorado. I think that the more underground trafficking you get, the worse the problem will get. But I also think that the reason that it will happen is when you can buy marijuana illegally for twice the cost it is to buy the legal medical marijuana, I think you'll see a lot of people try to do the legal part of it. But with this tax it keeps putting on it and everything, I think it's just going to end up burning itself out. And I do think it'll go underground, potentially between now and the next 2-3 years. Personally, I think me being a college student, I personally would never touch marijuana, but I know people that do it, not friends, but just people that do it, and they get irritated with the tax rate on the marijuana. They think that's not fair. Well, I kind of look at them and say, well, it's not fair because of why. I mean, it's no different than taxing a can of tobacco or cigarettes or pop, food, clothing, the whole 9 yards. This just seems to be a little bit more because the whole country's not legalized it yet, and I don't see the whole country legalizing it. But in terms of underground trafficking, I think the state of Colorado needs to take a very stern stand on that and try to stop it before it really gets out of hand. I think the more this tax gets upped, if it does go up, or they keep it the same, I think people are going to start saying, well, I can get away with it. Why not try to do it cheaper? And they say that it's actually cheaper to buy American marijuana than it is to even buy Mexican marijuana. But there's already that underground railroad type uh, of system they have going on that they can black market that into our country. And I think that obviously it's getting worked on all the time at the country line down there at Mexico. But I do think the state of Colorado, with legalizing marijuana, needs to make sure that they keep a hold of their marijuana, I guess, amount of marijuana that they have in the state, and how much is produced, and make sure just there's some not just showing up. I'm not exactly 100% sure how that works in terms of how they track it, because it is an agricultural product now. But I do think that they need to take the initiative, stay on top of it, because I do feel down the road there will be underground trafficking. So thank you very much.